Come on. Hey, everybody. I got James Levesque here, my dear friend down in New London. Bro, you're in it. You're just like,
Yeah, come on.
you are right outside of New York City. You're in
Corona
the
Valley.
hot zone. Here's the big question. How much of the wildlife is coming out that no one's outside anymore?
It's crazy, man. You definitely see all types of stuff. There was a bobcat outside, and it's crazy, bro. What is sad though is you got like the homeless don't have anywhere to go. I mean, that's tough. We're still feeding the homeless every morning.
Are you still doing your lunch program?
We are, man. Yeah, we're feeding them out of a window at the side of our church every day. Of course, the servers are protected and everything, but we just, dude, what do these people do? I mean, they literally they're opening up hotel rooms in case one catches it to kind of quarantine them.
Right, you can't put them in a gymnasium because then it's just a petri dish.
No, that's what I mean. And you can't put them in a homeless shelter because they're like a super carrier. You know what I mean?
Totally. We're having, I mean, of course, I'm sure you guys have it way worse than we do. Are you actually seeing an increase of numbers of people coming through?
What do you mean coming through?
Well, like, your lunch program.
Yeah. Oh, the breakfast program. Yeah, it's growing every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of their food got cut off, a lot of their shelters got cut off, but we just felt like, look, it's who we are. Just because we weren't meeting on Sunday morning doesn't mean the church is closed. You know what I'm saying? And so, as much as the function we can be, the hands and feet of Jesus, it's like that doesn't stop just because we're not assembling one day a week. You know what I mean?
Totally. And you know what, with our town, we were meeting with our town and we asked them, what's your plan with the homeless? And they're like, honestly, guys, we're trying to figure out how to run a whole community. We're trying to take care of every child and family. Like if there's one people we can't think of as the homeless, and it's, believe it or not, it's like the one group of people that they've been said we don't have the answer for. They used up all their funding for hotel rooms, and then they turned to us and said, we're cutting them all off. They have to go to the streets. And they're like, we don't know what to do. And so as pastors, we got together and we're just like, if there's going to be one thing that we answer during this coronavirus, it has to be this housing crisis,
Beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Absolutely.
Crazy. So what do you, I mean, like this kind of, I don't know about you, but I felt like it kind of came out of nowhere, this whole season. And
no doubt about it.
Overnight, we were all kind of calling each other like, what the heck are we going to do? This
sure.
is really crazy, really fast. I don't think anyone was really that prepared for it.
No.
What did you feel like from the start? Like, what was the Lord saying to you? Like, what was your instant reaction?
Sure.
You went to prayer with the Lord. Like, what do you feel like the Lord's saying in the season?
Yeah, at first, I don't think anybody took it serious. I mean, we were on text threads joking about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
I mean, not making light of it, but we're like, what in the world? And then I think the more I got your screenshot. Yeah. And then I think the more this happened, we're kind of like, bro, this is serious. And then when it was like, we were holding on. We were like one of the last churches to meet when everybody was closed down. Right. And I was like, as legal as we were going to be, social distancing and 8 feet apart. I mean, we did it. And it was powerful. I mean, you almost felt like you were in China, the believers in persecution, I mean, surges of excitement. And it's like,
sure.
It's like, yeah. I don't know, you get snow all the time, but it's like a snow day. If it really snows, the radicals are coming out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we've had some amazing meetings. And then it was the governor's office actually called us and was like, dude, you're not meeting. You're going to get fined. You'll get shut down and lose your occupancy. And I was like, all right. I had to make a decision. Do I want to be the guy to go to jail? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Because here's the deal. I don't believe this is an attack on, the Constitution and this big, weird government thing. I believe it's a storm.
Right.
And as long as the gay bar is closed down next door, I'm at peace. I don't believe this is now. If they come back and say everybody can resume, but faith groups,
right? Then
we might have a problem. But that wasn't the fight for me. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I needed to know what the Lord was saying in this season, like big time, right? A lot of preachers were stuck. To be honest with you, where the prophets? Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? And so I know how to hear God's voice, man. And so I went to prayer and was like, God, what is going on? And the Lord said this to me. He said, it's not judgment, it's preparation.
Wow.
That this is a fire drill and we are being prepared. Let's be real. We all thought this was going to be a year of 2020 vision. And well, let me tell you something. You got it.
Yeah, exactly. Not the way you wanted it, but you got it.
Hey, I had these on before the meeting right here. I had these on. Here's the deal. I don't wear these glasses. I'm not a hipster like you, bro. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. I was watching my iPad the other day, like literally just checking it out, and I had a hard time seeing. Everything got blurry, man. And I'm like, Isaac, can you see what this is? And he's like, yeah. I thought my iPad was broke. You know what happened? The minute I put these glasses on, I could see everything. I could see dirt particles, you know? Because here's the thing about 2020 vision. You don't realize how blind you are until you start looking around and realizing you don't know what's happening. The hardest thing to do is recognize Jesus in a storm. They thought he was a ghost, right? And here's a storm, and how are we going to recognize what the Lord's doing? And the minute I put on my glasses, I saw that we're seeing clearer now than ever before. We just don't realize it.
Right.
We're being prepared for something greater. A 9/11, you probably weren't pastoring then, but right after 9/11, the church never was the same again.
Right.
Security didn't matter like before 9/11.
Right.
After 9/11, everybody wants to get guns and everybody's carrying and everybody cares about security. This will have the same impact.
Right.
I don't believe, I was on a call this morning with about 100 world leaders, you know. I don't think we're ever going to go back the same. Craig Groeschel had 50,000 souls, his first live stream when this happened. John Stockstill's raising up. He has 700 home group leaders. Here's the thing we don't understand. David Youngie Cho with the whole cell group movement, the reason he did that is because they were scared that North Korea was going to invade. And he had to answer the question, what is going to happen if everything gets shut down and how are we going to sustain?
Right.
I don't believe it'll ever be the same again. I think the gatherings are going to be more potent, but I think leaders must be raised up. Church is going to look like this. It's never going to go away from media. I think we are scrambling in a fire drill to get prepared, but I believe the whole thing is by design, bro. And the Father is giving us time right now to respond.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about 9/11 changed a lot. But no, I wasn't pastoring. I was in the 9th grade.
Oh yeah, that was before your ordination, which was so powerful.
Well before my ordination. 9/11 was a moment, right? And of course, the repercussions lasted for a while, but it was a moment. This is probably, and it was in one nation, at one location, at one time. And it impacted the globe, but we've never lived through a moment that impacted the globe like a massive scale of behavioral change across the entire globe, all nations, tribes, and tongues. Like everybody is changing the way that we behave right now, and it's lasting for months, not a day, not days or weeks, but
crazy months. Man, just crazy.
And the far-reaching effects of that, I don't think that we really even can calculate or prepare, but I think you're right. I think the Lord's giving some incredible wisdom right now. I was telling our team, I was like, I know a lot of churches are thriving in the season. 50,000 souls coming in, life group later, there's been raised, the people are coming in. I even feel like we're seeing some major things happening in our community.
Totally.
And I'm seeing some churches thriving, and some churches have no idea what to do. Right. And it's not because for a lack of trying now, but because of the lack of values that were instilled in their church culture before this moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there are so many churches that were like leading off of the facade of success. Like they had this facade that everything was successful, everything was great because there's people in my church. But the moment you take the service away, there's no value in the people, and there's no connection, and there's no financial backing, and there's no vision, there's no anything. And the whole thing's been shaken to the core, saying, man, like our greatest value is gathering, not creating family, expanding the kingdom, And so this is a crazy moment of shaking, but it's also going to really strengthen and fortify the church. Don't you think?
No, I think we're going to look back, about 5 years from now, and we're going to see some of the greatest ministries raised up. We're going to see some of the greatest prayer movements raised up, because the thing is this, what we have now is time. See, what we thought before it was a time issue, now we understand it's a priority issue. This is the hour of the secret place. But here's the challenge. we are more isolated than ever before, but we still are, it's noisier than it's ever been. What do you do when God puts you on a timeout in love, but he wants to speak through the whisper and in the silence? Do you sleep with a white noise machine or no?
I do.
You do. We all do.
Yeah.
So listen, I think 4 out of every 10 Americans sleep with a white noise machine. But here's the thing. Last night, it actually happened last night. I put one on my iPad now because we have them in every room.
Right.
And my battery died. I immediately wake up. It happened to me when I was in the Netherlands. The minute the white noise stopped, I popped up in the middle of the night, and I didn't know what to do in the Netherlands. I'm trying to like turn the TV on and cover it with a blanket. You know, I just need noise.
Right.
But here's the thing. I feel like the white noise machine just got unplugged. And we're running around trying to fill more noise.
Right.
And so we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and we're doing everything we can to try to replace the noise. And the Father's saying, I didn't ever wanted the noise to be there.
Right.
I just want to speak to you in the silence. I want to speak to you in the whisper. But the problem is it's hard. We have more time than we've ever had, but people are more distracted, discouraged, frustrated. It's because the Father wants to speak. And even now we're filling our lives with stuff. And so it's really amazing because I feel like the Lord wants to promote us in a new realm of faith through this. But if we're not listening, it's like 1 Samuel 3. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like the word of the Lord was rare. I mean, I get, I might say extreme things, but the prophetic ministry is hurting right now in America. Do you know what I'm saying? We can't I love all the prophets I honor. Obviously, we're all prophetic. We have to do better. We've got to do better than explaining things after they happen. You know what I mean? We've got to lay down in 1 Samuel 3, like in the place of his presence, and God just speak.
Right.
And we just know what his voice sounds like. And so, it is an invitation for promotion. Seriously, I don't look at this as a horrible situation. I look as a gift from God. I'm connecting with more leaders right now than we ever have.
Right.
If you had a church of 1,000 people, you're reaching 100 people, you're reaching 1,000 online right now.
Right.
If you had a church of 300, you're reaching 3,000. Everybody got 100% overnight reach.
Right.
And we're wondering what's happening. God's trying to bless us. You know what I mean? It's the Father's way of saying, let's get some things aligned. Let's see a little bit clearer, because we are going to step into a season of advancement.
Yeah, it's good, man. I love that, about the whole idea of like kind of getting re-familiarized with silence. I think we're such a busy culture, man. Like I love, have you ever read Saint Teresa's 7 Castles of the Soul? Have you ever read that?
Years ago, man.
Dude. I mean, it's still like I live off some of that from that book. I'm just incredible stuff. She said in the 4 levels of prayer, she said that there's like the prayer of complaining, where you're just getting everything out of your system, which is like, let's be honest, that's everyone's prayer life, right?
Totally, man.
And it's just like, let me like get everything out, and then I'm going to walk away. And she goes, after the prayer of complaining comes the prayer of quiet. And she said it's where like everything disappears. And she said, this is where the prayer life of the mystic is the most vulnerable, because she said, this is where everything comes up and everything that you need to go do and all the busyness and all the cluttering of the mind. But she goes, if you can persevere through that place of quiet, then you're going to end up in this like transferring of the virtue of heaven into your being. And you're going to begin to experience communion with God because you persevere through the silence, and let's be honest, we have a people that have no idea how to press in past the quiet and to come out of a season with something. They come out of it with I keep telling people be prepared to come out of the season with habits that you didn't have the attention span or the time.
Totally agree.
When you were busy. Like health habits and prayer habits and Bible study habits. If you can't do it now, there'll never be an excuse for why you'll do it later. Never.
Your parents might know better, but in Toronto, when the Lord moved in the 90s, one thing that I love that came out of it in TACF was soaking, right?
Yeah.
We literally think about what I'm telling you. Out of a move of God, people would just lay down on the floor, put on worship music, think about it.
For hours.
And do nothing but just sit there.
Yeah.
That would never happen today, bro. We'd be on our phones. Why would I I lay on the ground.
Right.
This is so, think about it. And so we're trying to fill that time, and God's like, I just want to whisper to you.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be a voice. Can we silence everything? If we want to hear the voice of God, we're going to have to turn down the volume of the world, period.
Right. Right. And what's crazy is like the busyness has died down. The opportunity is there, but how loud
Totally.
social media and everything is now trying to replace the busyness with chaotic communications, you know, like
Totally, man.
we've got to shut it down. We have to, like, we got to be
Have to,
aware,
man.
pay attention, but we've got to shut it down.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's amazing. I mean, some of us are literally stuck in our house with our family. And but think about it. And there's more stress and more distractions and more everything. It just shows you it was never time, it was priority.
Yeah.
I was reading the first week through all this. I was reading the two storms of the with that Jesus was in. You know, one he's telling him to go the other side. One he's in the boat with him, and one he wasn't in the boat.
Right.
And the one, I think it was Mark 4, when he was in the boat, it said they took him with him as he was. Talking about Jesus.
Wow.
Never saw that before, as he was.
Hmm.
And the Lord showed me that we took the Lord in this storm right now as he was to us. Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Whatever Jesus was to you before this storm, he's more of.
Right.
If you are intimate, the people I know hearing God so clear are not on the internet. They're praying, they're old, they're full of wisdom, they just sit back and observe. The people I know that really hear God, they're not online.
Right.
But if you already had a prayer life and a devotional life, you're getting that even more.
Right.
But if you were a little distracted and church was kind of more of a social thing, you feel like your whole world's upended.
Right.
I mean, how many people, they go to church, but they're busy with their ball games and their kids' games and the cantatas and this and that.
Right.
Now everything stopped, and they're going, like, I know people who raise their kids, they're married, single. All the kids raise up, leave the home, and they look at each other and go, who are you?
Right. Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
But I feel like that happened right now, and people are looking at the Lord and going, who are you?
Right.
Like, oh, you actually want to spend more time with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy, bro.
I really feel like Dustin, our associate pastor, and I were talking about this today, and we're just like seriously, there's so many Christian behaviors, prayer, outreach, Bible study, everything, where the church has created a simulation reality where we do it all for you and you are received from the church, which I think is a beautiful thing. The church can provide the resource. It's fine, right? But to the point where if you remove all the crutches, what's left, you know? And this is a time for believers to become the church again, you know, and
Totally.
believers to take responsibility, for people to, you know, to really break it down into, has the church been doing connection and community and brotherly love for me? Or can I do it without the programs, without, you know, this is a moment that people really actually start to walk out their faith in the most real, authentic, and genuine way. And because all of the facades are gone, you know, all
crazy, man,
lifted. So, I mean, it's an opportunity, but there's a warning in it, right? Like
oh, there's no doubt. I think
this divine moment, we could miss it.
Yeah, I think in many ways, a lot of it is consumption, right? We're like consumer only people. Everything we're consuming, right, on the internet, and you know, we weren't quite ready. You know, we weren't made to have the whole world on our phone. Like we weren't wired to watch everybody's live stream. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I flat out told some people, you weren't meant to be on the internet. You can't be responsible.
Right.
And I mean, outside, if it wasn't for us no, seriously, if it wasn't for us doing live streaming, I'd call the church to a media fast.
Sure. Yeah.
Like what are we doing? And so here's what people don't want to know. I've known you, I don't know how long, I've probably known you well over 15 years, maybe 20 years, Jamie.
Right. Right.
I knew Jamie Dixon when he was like in high school, dude, trying to do Bible studies. You know what I mean? Like few people taking you serious, but you loved Jesus and burned for God and spent hours a day with. Nobody knows that about you. out, bro. You would weep on your carpet for souls and revival. That was your life, bro. And overnight, I watched God put his hand on this little kid in Maine that nobody saw. And you turned into this mighty man of God that is shaking the world, man. But you know what? Everybody wants that platform. Nobody wants that surrender, bro.
100%.
Come on, man. You spent years. I spent years. I got saved, bro. My mother had to come downstairs and be like, it's been 12 hours. What are you doing by yourself?
Right.
Like, I mean, weeping. Bro, I used to be in prayer meetings with you, bro. You would travail so loud like you're birthing something.
Right.
Where's that, man? Come on. Where are the tears for real revival?
Right.
Everything you have a phenomenal church. You have such an apostolic ministry. You're such a powerful man of God. Bro, that wasn't birthed in a boardroom.
Right.
That was birthed in travail, bro. And I think we're realizing we got away from that. If you were a seeker-sensitive church 3 weeks ago, it was not going well for you.
No.
Because Joel Osteen turned on his camera and got 7 million views the first Sunday.
Right.
If everything in our ministry was about a show on one day a week, we don't have a ministry today.
Right.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, of course, God will restore, and God is making a clarion call. But we got to get back to the worship. We got to get back to the basics of loving Jesus. And, but the problem is if we talk about surrender, somebody thinks we're being religious. If we talk about weeping for revival, it's like, well, that's that was the 90s. And it's like, no, dude, that's what we're walking in today.
Yeah, Psalm 50, verse 5, man. So one of my life verses, gather to me the consecrated ones who've made covenant with me by sacrifice, right? Like there really is something about you and I both are living in the overflow of the defining moments of our life.
No doubt.
Where we gave it all. We sacrificed when no one was looking. We were up till 3 in the morning, pressing into the Lord. Like, I remember being on the phone with you going like, what's God's, us like praying together over the phone. Like, I remember those days. We're living in the overflow of the defining moments of our life, right? Like,
no doubt.
We are still, I'm like across the street at my house years ago, someone dug a well. I'm still taking showers from the waters of that well that somebody else dug, right? Like,
it's true.
Like in prayer, we dug wells and we are still drawing revelation from the same wells we dug years ago. And I don't know about you, but I want to dig new wells that I'm
100%.
going to draw from and my kids are going to draw from 10 years down the road from now.
No, we're going to.
There's never been a moment that we could, in the busyness of the overflow of all the fruit and the blessing of our life, this is the most perfect moment for us to lay it all down and press in the heart of Jesus, dig a well that we'll draw from for decades to come, And I know that that's the overflow of our life right now. I know it is. I know it's not from my prayer life yesterday. I know it's my prayer life from years ago.
100%, man. Still
like a cloud of revival over my life. And people will ask me, man, there's new revelation on you now. And I'm thinking like, I'm still with the Lord every day, but I know that I'm only increasing because of years behind me,
No doubt about it.
And
you hit it on the head, man.
To say that, like, man, there's never been a moment for some revivalists to emerge out of a season of consecration right now. Like, there's going to be
happen.
Walk out of the season, and their faces are going to be shining, and they'll change the world forever.
I promise it'll happen. Mark Cuban tweeted about the business realm. He said, "Watch in 5 years, you're going to see businesses." And bro, I felt that way for faith. I felt like revivalists, man. Like, and here's the deal: we're not ready to fight this kind of stuff spiritually, man. I think the church is realizing our need for signs and wonders and power, and like we've got to be the answer to this. We should be able to speak something out in a prayer room just to dissolve something like coronavirus, And it's not a shame or a knock on us, but we got to get better. I love what Bill Johnson says: if there's a deficit, it's not that side of heaven. Do you know what I'm saying? It's this side.
Right.
And so I think we're being given a gift of time. Yeah.
Dude, listen, I feel like we should end right there because I feel like, dude, I want you to pray that some burning ones would emerge of the season. Someone needs to press in for an encounter. Someone needs to have a dream. Someone needs to have an experience with God. Someone needs to fast through the season. Somebody's got to press in like never before because God carved out a space and they walked through it, And would you just pray right now? Even some people that are listening that are being stirred by that, I just feel that such a weight of the Lord on that word. Like,
Sure.
You just
Yeah.
pray right now that somebody's heart will catch on fire from that right now, and it won't be a flash in the pan, that there'd be an authentic move of
Right.
God that would be a move of God that would be birthed in them right now. And
Yeah, man.
pray that over us.
Absolutely. Let me say this real quick. One of our last fire nights we did, a guy named Rick came up, had a prophetic word, and all he kept saying was, God wants to give you a present today. There's a present. There's a gift for every one of you. But that was it. It was just the present. And we realized that the gift was actually called now.
Right.
It was the present. The present that we're in is the
Wow.
gift that God has given us. And it was probably 2 months ago. And we're really seeing that right now we are all being given a gift of time, and I believe we're going to redeem it. So let's pray. Father,
Yeah.
I thank you for Kingdom Life Church. I thank you for all the partners and everybody watching this web stream. And Father, I thank you that you are calling us deeper. I keep hearing the words inner room, inner room. When you pray, go into the inner room where the Father already is. Lord, I pray in this season we would strip away everything that is not of you, that we would be a focus, an audience of one. Burn back in us the one thing. Burn back in us the one thing, that what we build today in the realm of prayer and consecration, generations will walk in tomorrow. I thank you that this is the hour to lift our sail, not drop our anchor. This is the hour to lock into the realms of the Spirit. Father, I pray that we would just guard our heart with diligence, that we would watch what we say, watch what we see, that we would guard every gate and lean into you. Because there's wisdom in revelation being released in the knowledge of you. And God, I pray for every person watching that you would realign the priorities of our life in our heart through love. You are calling and drawing us in. We thank you for it, God. I thank you for just growth in Kingdom Life. And I thank you that through this season, they will grow hundredfold in every area, in family, in ministry, and everything that you put their hands to, God. I thank you for this radical community that you birthed in the heart of Jamie Dixon years ago. And then we're seeing the fruit of it now. And I thank you for the greatest fruit that will be harvested in the days ahead. We love this church and we thank you for them, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Come on.
Ah, thanks, man. Man, feel the presence of the Lord is like in my room. I think I might go into that travailing place right now.
Come on, man. Man, I feel it so strong.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you. We were praying for you guys, and especially you guys are right in the middle of it, man. Like
crazy.
Really praying for what was it? The book, The Intercessor. Do you remember that? You remember the book, The Intercessor?
Reese Howells?
Reese Howells. Yeah. Do you remember that? I've been having that come to my mind. Where there was a plague that like hit the UK, and the dude would get around every sick person and lay hands. Like he almost got so sick from praying for people that he almost died. And he ended until he got victory over it. And I just really felt like that you guys were going to get this like major position or a breakthrough for healing in your area as you contended for. So,
well, we're believing, man. You know, ironically, we're the church in New London. It's unfortunate we have all these congregations, but the main church we're broadcasting from, where we have to go in and out of every day, all the time, it has the lowest curve right now. It's like it's not much going on. So Lord's kind of pushed his hand off. But I was reading a book. A.W. Tozer had 30 families have to go out for World War II. He laid hands on all of them at the altar and said none of them will die. Everybody was dying except those 30 kids that they prayed over every time they were together. So for me, I feel like we're taking a military stance in prayer. We're pushing this thing back. And I believe it's a storm